Hi, good afternoon. Welcome to the marketplace. Coming up, inflation for August 2024 slows marginally to 20.4%, influenced by a drop in food inflation. We have details from the Ghana Statistical Service.
It's almost been halved as it stood at 40.1% in August 2023, decreasing through to 20.4% in August 2024.
The Bank of Ghana to sell $20 million to bulk oil distributors under its auction program as concerns go over limited market supply. Plus, the Association of Ghana Industries is asking government to do more to stabilize the economy ahead of the 2024 elections to improve business confidence.
What we expect in the coming months is that we're able to sustain the improvement we have. The election should not be an issue in terms of measuring confidence level. Rather, we want it to spur businesses on.
My name is Daryl Kwao. Details coming up. Well, thanks for staying with us, everyone. The year-on-year inflation for the month of August has slowed marginally to 20.4% from 20.9% recorded in July. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, the marginal slowdown in the rate of inflation from August last year compared to August 2024 was influenced by a reduction in food inflation. Food inflation went down again to 19.1% from 21.5% in July. Now, non-food inflation, however, saw some 0.7 percentage points increase in inflation to 21.5% in August. That's from 20.5% in July. Here's government statistician Professor Samuel Kobneni.
Second consecutive time, overall year-on-year inflation has dipped from 22.8 in June 2024, 20.9 in July 2024, and currently 20.4 in August 2024. This means that for the second successive time, we see a decline in overall year-on-year inflation. Over the 13-month period between August 2023 and August 2024, inflation has almost been halved as it stood at 40.1% in August 2023, decreasing through to 20.4% in August 2024. On overall month-on-month basis over the 13-month period, we're recording for the third time a consecutive drop in month-on-month overall inflation. We saw a drop from 2.9% through to 2.1%, and currently the deflation of 0.7%. Indeed, the deflation of 0.7% is the significant deflation that has been recorded in the last 17 months. Disaggregation of August 2024 rate of inflation from a food and non-food perspective. In the month of August 2024, we saw a variation of 2.4 percentage points between food and non-food inflation, as food inflation recorded a rate of inflation of 19.1% relative to 21.5% for non-food inflation, which means that we continue to see a reversal in the dominance of food inflation. As for a second consistent time, we're seeing that non-food inflation is higher than food inflation, in this case by 2.4 percentage points. We've seen another 2.4 percentage points of a drop in food inflation between July 2024 and August 2024. In July 2024, food inflation stood at 21.5%, and this has dipped to 19.1% in August 2024 for food inflation. In contrast to the observation for food inflation, we're seeing a marginal increase in non-food inflation between July 2024 and August 2024.
Well, joining me on Zoom is Anthony Morrison. He's Chief Executive of the Chamber of Agribusiness. Good afternoon to you, Anthony. So food inflation, again, declining in August as we deal with a dry spell. That's from 21.5% to 19.1%. What's your reaction to the latest figures? What does it say about our food situation?
Well, very good afternoon, Darrell, and to your cherished viewers. If you look at the statistics, as rightly stated by the government statistician, you look at the fact that the local food inflation, or the produce of local food, has gone up substantially as against the imported ones. that tells you that as a country, we are actually importing ourselves, and we can't import ourselves out of the situation that we find ourselves. The only way we can do so is to reduce the importation rate and put more money into productivity, especially on food. Look at the data as been shown. We're talking about a sharp decrease in the inflation. Don't also forget that there are two key variables that influences productivity, especially in the agriculture sector. One is the forex exchange rate, and also two is the cost of fuel, okay, logistics. And over the past weeks, we have seen fuel actually going up. Currently, the dollar is about 16 to the cedi. So we are actually having a kind of situation that we need to be very strategic and focus on local productivity, because, for instance, there are certain infrastructures that are available in areas where we are importing from, which goes to reduce their cost of production. And by the time the produce lands here in Ghana, they are even much cheaper than the locally produced ones. For instance, we import a lot of our teeth, we import a lot of fertilizers, the agrochemicals, the fuel is imported, and the cost of labor keeps going up because of other externalities that the labor front also have to deal with, like the cost of logistics, which is transport. And of course, we do a lot of aggregation, and we repeat the value chain in the process, because the logistic value chain comes in all the other sectors, the downstream, the upstream, and the midstream. So we are actually having to look at how we can be much strategic about what we are doing currently as a country, rather than focusing on import substitution.
Yeah, I just need to point out that fuel prices have gone down in the last couple of windows. If that trend continues, I mean, on the international market, crude oil prices also going down. It's good for the pricing of food items. How sustainable is this drop that we've seen in the last couple of months? How can we sustain them?
Well, don't forget that in the agriculture sector, we don't deal with the weekly or daily increase or decrease of fuel. It is hedged at the time of productivity, and when you do so, by the time you were doing the production 3 months ago, which is 90 days to 120 days ago, 4 months, the cost of fuel was actually high. Now, when we do that and we compare that to what we are facing now, we will have to increase the production in a sense. We have to increase the market value of what we produce to be able to make up for next season. So we also adopt a kind of metrics when we are doing our cost build-up, or the food cost build-up, such that we will be able to produce the same acreage or be able to be leveraged on the productivity rate. So there is a lot that goes in there.
Yeah, I want to also ask about the drought situation, because there were fears that this could impact on the availability of food and also on pricing. We are not seeing that kick in just yet. Your thoughts?
Yes, so to be honest with you, I think that, frankly speaking, the Ministry of Food and Agriculture has failed this country. I'm saying this because that is a technical ministry. It's not a ministry for politicians to dictate. You expect that the technical people should be given the opportunity to actually advise the politician in there, which in this case is the minister, to make informed decisions. When issues of this nature happens, you expect the directors, the chief directors, who are technically apt to be able to come up with the right technical solutions. As we speak, we had a dry spot. Yes, in the north. I'm currently in the north, and we are going around the whole of the northern region to update ourselves with what is happening on the ground. And if you look at the fact that, yes, we had a Bagri Dam spillage, which did not wasn't that massive, but the dry spell has actually reduced. So it makes one to ask, what technical advice was the minister giving? Or did the minister actually take this decision without technical advice? Because if you look at some of the solutions he professed, were zero on technical solutions, the short term, medium term, and the long term. And of course, the Minister for Finance stated that they have procured agriculture insurance. Now, in the agriculture sector, you only procure insurance at the point of productivity, not at the point where farmers are actually facing challenges. You don't insure agricultural facilities after production has taken place, because there is a need for due diligence and several other metrics to take place. So we are not impressed, and especially the fact that they are taking for 8 billion cedis, which is about $600 million, which within the first PFJ, which is 4 years of the PFJ1, government did not actually invested that amount of money. The amount of money invested was about 2.7 billion cedis. So does it mean that within 4 years, 4 months, government wants to spend $600 million, which is 8 billion cedis, for what purpose? As we are currently seeing, yes, the data also is showing there is a decrease or reduction in the food inflation. That's also pointing to the fact that we are importing more. So if you look at the solution from the minister stated clearly, we are going to import 250,000 metric tons of food, of feed for livestock, 300,000 metric tons of maize, and also 150,000 metric tons of rice. So that tells you that the minister's solutions is built with technical solutions. What from the Chamber of Agribusiness Ghana and other partners that we have spoken to and agreed. First, as a country, we need to look at the agriculture emergency preparedness strategy. Then institute or establish the agriculture emergency coordinating agency. While that is in place, what do you look at? You look at moving the current commercial productivity from where they are not having access to water to where there are water, like Afram, like the Volta region. And for instance, you also need to look at the current available dams that we have. How suitable are they so that we move productivity closer to these places and provide them with generators and pumps and other irrigation equipment like the drips, the automated mobile irrigation facilities. So you require some tentative action technically from government. And also, of course, one would have expected also that with the amount of money being mentioned, some of the money would have gone to de-risk the facilities that the farmers have taken at the banks. This is what other countries have done, like Romania. They have actually reduced and taken over those facilities because they needed the farmers to be productivity for the next season.
We've got to go. One last question. I'm not too sure I got your response to why we're seeing food prices decline even though we are dealing with a dry spell. I'm not too sure if you're insinuating that it's because we're importing food. But my final question has to do with the announcement of new prices for cocoa. We're anticipating an announcement this hour. The program hasn't started the last I checked. But, I mean, reports have it that prices could go up by as much as 45%. What are your expectations?
Well, frankly, to tell you the truth, the international price for cocoa now is about $2,500 to $2,800,000. If you look at what is being paid, the farmer gate price now is around $1,300 to $1,400. Now, if you look at some of these statistics and compare to what is happening within the sub-region, compared to Ivory Coast is paying $1,800 to $2,000 per ton. Our other competitors like Indonesia are paying $1,500 to $1,800 per ton. And if you look at Ecuador, recently we made mention of the fact that Ecuador is actually pushing harder with regards to the agriculture front. And all these are influencing our sector. And Ecuador is actually paying their farmers farm gate price of $2,000 to $2,500. Now, what one will expect from government is an absolute competitive rate for our farmers. The current situation is not helpful, and we need farmers to be paid the right price. The fact is, we need to actually increase the economic viability of the Ghanaian farmer. And that is not negotiable.
We will be closely following, would figure out the outcome, probably come to you very soon for your reaction to that. Thank you so much for your time on the marketplace. Anthony Morrison, he's CEO of the Chamber of Agribusiness. While the Bank of Ghana will today sell $20 million to bulk oil distribution companies, this will be done under its auction program, which is targeted at meeting the dollar needs of some firms in the country. Here's more in this report.
The supply of dollars on the market. The auction is coming at a time that there has been some growing concerns of limited supply of dollars on the market. Some of these firms have told Joy Business that they cannot get dollars to buy, but the development can be described as interesting, especially when the Bank of Ghana has introduced several platforms to sell dollars to the market, as well as significant growth in its dollar reserves. These concerns are also coming at a time that IMF has also given the Bank of Ghana approval to increase the amount of dollars that can be sold on the market. The dollar auction for the bulk oil distribution firms is part of the central bank's program to assure these firms that the regulator can provide them with dollars when they need them. Therefore, there is no need to rush for it now.
Now, the Association of Ghana Industries is calling on government to do more to help stabilize the economy ahead of the 2024 elections. Chief Executive Seth Twum Akwabwa explained that although election spending is likely to stir up the economy to some extent, confidence is key. Mr. Twum Akwabwa spoke to Joy Business at the launch of the 13th edition of the AGI's Quality and Industry Awards.
Firms such as Fitch Solutions project Ghana's economy to grow by 4.3% in 2024. Growth is expected to be driven by a recovery in domestic demand, facilitated by easing inflation and strengthening business sentiment. Although growth has been steady in the last 9 months, election-related spending is expected to stir up the economy and improve spending ahead of the 2024 elections. Speaking at the launch of the 13th edition of AGI's Quality and Industry Awards, Chief Executive of the Association of Ghana Industries, Seth Twum Akwabwa, called on government to work assiduously to improve the macroeconomic climate of the country.
What we expect in the coming months is that we're able to sustain the improvement we have. The election should not be an issue in terms of measuring confidence level. Rather, we want it to spur businesses on, because during an election year, naturally, there's a lot more expenditure, so businesses should rather improve, but it shouldn't be an overnight arrangement. It should be sustained. For us, it's the sustainability angle that we need most, because people want to be able to plan. And if you don't have a sustained arrangement, you cannot plan with it.
He shed more light on the 13th edition of the AGI Quality and Industry Awards.
That's why we're saying that we are navigating the challenges and bringing productivity and sustainability. That's the whole key theme. And I think that if we are acknowledging companies that have been that resilient, it is important so that those who have had challenges would get inspiration. And as I made, the point I made in my statement was that it's not just a matter of achieving massive change or impact. The mere fact that you're able to sustain what you are doing is a plus, because in a challenging environment, keeping the workers in jobs, keeping your volumes of sales intact, even if you're not growing, is an achievement.
Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry, Michael Ochrebefi, hinted that the economy is expected to experience a rebound from 2025.
All right, you're watching The Marketplace. Up next is Let's Talk Tech. We're skipping the breaker to speak with Henry Kobler, who is lead for Eyes of Africa. And we need to talk about Apple because it's been trending this week. It's been under pressure to show what it will offer buyers to jumpstart a new wave of iPhone sales. On Monday, it revealed its hand, the iPhone 16, which has a camera button on the outside of the handset. I'm going to hand it over to you. We've got 2 minutes. I mean, tell us about this new iPhone and what people are saying about it.
And generally, you're seeing a very normal trend with iPhones basically releasing and improving on the chips and then the screens and then probably the cameras. on there, you'd realize that the major improvement here, I mean, probably is their iOS 18 and then the artificial intelligence, which is infused already with Siri, connecting with ChatGPT. And so you'd really realize that it's just more like an infusion, and they're calling it Apple Intelligence, but relatively just setting on ChatGPT and then just making it open up. I mean, generally, you're looking at the same phenomenon already on the S24 from Samsung, which is already in the market and people are already enjoying it. So you'd realize that the shares of Apple really had dropped almost about 1.3%, generally because it's not really offering so much as
Unfortunately, frozen there, Henry Cobbler.
It's not a bad phone in its regard.
All right, Henry, 1 minute. Huawei also did its thing on Tuesday. It's launched its first tri-fold smartphone. See the competition going on there.
Yes, very strategic. I mean, they're putting up something that is coming into competition already. They are having quite a lot of pre-orders coming in, which is exceptional. And again, also looking at the Chinese market, since artificial intelligence with Apple phones would relatively take time to hit the Chinese market. Same with these phones also hitting the US market as well. I think that you're focusing much with the Chinese population and the productivity, fusing it with AI as well, but very strategic with them. I'm thinking that this phone could do quite a lot more in terms of sales for Huawei and open more doors to connect probably with the Play Stores on Google.
Succinct. I'll make it up to you, Henry. Thank you so much. Henry Cobbler, lead for Eyes of Africa, join us on Zoom. And that's the marketplace. Thanks for joining us, everyone. There is more news on our website, nigeriaonline.com/business. More on the latest inflation figures dropping to 20.4%. nigeriaonline.com/business. And do make a date, 1:30 p.m. Joy 99.7 FM for the masterclass, which begins in a minute. Join us if you can.